We discuss the Benchmade fallout and how my 48-hour rule pays off again. Well, what's up, folks? Welcome to another episode, kicking it here in the garage. And looking forward to just discussing and breaking down this topic for you today, and giving you just my thoughts and kind of my critique on the, I don't know what you want to call it, the breaking of the internet that happened last week through the weekend of Benchmade and some of the fallout that has occurred. And if you're not aware, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail. You can easily Google it. Type in Instagram on your Facebook or type in Benchmade on your Instagram or Facebook page, and you can find all the threads and all the topics and all that stuff. And I'm just going to give you guys a general data point here. I'm not a news reporter. I'm not an investigative journalist. This is just the what I have discovered, and this comes from the idea that I have discovered and try to apply in my life, that I do not rush to judgment, and I give everything about 48 hours, particularly if it has to do with like things online, news stories, news articles, information. I like to be able to give things 2 days to settle and get as much information out there as possible, because I'll be honest with you, I feel like we are in an outrage culture, a knee-jerk reaction culture at this point in time, that we don't wait for the whole story to come out. We hear something that either we don't like and reinforces a narrative or an idea that we agree with, and then we just jump on it and rush to conclusions, make assumptions, and we all know what happens when you make assumptions. And sometimes we can put our foot in our mouth. Sometimes it just reinforces, and we get all the data. We're like, wow, what I thought was absolutely accurate, and now I know that I know, and it's not just my opinion. Or we're like, wow, I didn't really know all the details, and now that I do, it kind of changes my perspective a little bit. And you're not sitting there living in outrage culture, flipping out because you just read some article about something without all the information. Let it settle for about 2 days and then make your decision, and you'll probably be a lot more accurate more of the time, and you're less likely to put your foot in your mouth or make a total tool out of yourself by having to redact or re-edit or re-clarify your thoughts. So I have tried to apply that to my life. So if you missed out, this is in a nutshell what happened. The police department in Oregon, I believe it's Oregon City, that is located like a block or so from the Benchmade headquarters and Benchmade facility, Benchmade Knives, a few days ago, late last week, I think, posted on their feeds some photos of breaking down guns at the Benchmade shop and using Benchmade tools that are in their shop, grinders and things like that, to cut down a few rifles, from what I understand, and putting them in boxes for destruction, and breaking them down in a way that they could then, I guess, do them in the way the ATF recommends, and whatever. And so what happened is that once that dropped and they tagged Benchmade in that, they had it up for I think like 10 minutes, and they had a huge backlash, and they took it down, but it was too late. And again, you can look it up, and maybe if I can, I'll try and grab the image and throw it up there of just some pictures of them breaking down shotguns and different things like that, and using the Benchmade facilities to break down these guns. Now, I don't know if you know this or not. You know, every police department breaks down guns one way or the other, from crimes, court-ordered things for different reasons, whatever it is. They have to regularly destroy firearms on a regular basis. You know, you get arrested, or someone gets arrested and they had an illegal firearm on them, you know, the court case goes and they're going to jail, and obviously now the state is in possession of the firearm, and now they have to do something with it. Some will do buybacks, some will do, sell them to local gun stores, and some of them will just break them down and, cut them up, and there's a way that you're supposed to do that, or melt them down, or, put concrete down the barrels, and they do all kinds of stuff to destroy these firearms. That's a regular occurrence. So that was the initial thing that dropped. And so when I saw that, for me personally, as somebody who is a knife lover, who is a Second Amendment advocate, who is somebody who supports the Second Amendment, that wasn't unreasonable, but it would not be a decision that I would have done. If I was the owner, the shop manager at Benchmade, and the police department had come to me and said, hey, can we use your shop to break down some of these firearms? I would have been like, guys, we love you, appreciate you. I know that's something you have to do. You have court orders to destroy these firearms. That's just not something we're going to let you do at the shop. go, there's a grinder. I know Home Depot has grinders. Go, and you guys got a shop, I'm sure, that you repair the vehicles and your cars with and stuff. You just need to do it over there at the armory or whatever. And that's what I would have done, been courteous and kind, and just been like, that's just not something I would prefer to do. Did that really make me flip out and be like, I hate Benchmade, I'm never going to buy Benchmade knives again? No, it didn't make me feel that way. I think it was a bad decision. I think it was a bad call that they should not have done that. But I think it was just a really not thinking of the consequences. They're like, oh yeah, whatever. I'm sure it was just shooting the breeze with the cop because they're that close. Police officer comes in like, hey, we got to break down some guns. Can we, use your guys' shop, for whatever reason, we don't have access to it. Yeah, sure, whatever, because the police officers are in there all the time because they're like a block away, and, a lot of law enforcement like Benchmade. And I'm sure they just were not, Benchmade was not thinking about the consequences and was like, okay, whatever, and let the law enforcement do that. Again, I do not like that. That would not have been my decision. I would not have let them do that if I owned Benchmade, but they did. They let them do that. Not cool, not something I really like, but okay, bad call. We all make mistakes, right? I mean, I've definitely put my foot in my mouth plenty of times. I've definitely done things, said things that I regret, and I was like, wow, that was stupid. Or guys, that is not who I am. I made a mistake, sorry. That's not the bigger issue. The bigger issue comes into play in Benchmade's donations. Now, apparently, and I just want to reiterate again, this is just after having processed, seen documentation, all that. There's a couple websites out there, that you can look up basically almost any company, and you can see their donations to political parties and people and all that. So somebody discovered that. Somebody looked up Benchmade and saw that in the early 2000s, they were about a 50-50 split, donating to Republicans and Democrats. But in the last I can't remember, like 4 to 6 years, they have donated almost 100% to Democrats, and several $1,000s to Democrats in the state of Oregon that they're located in. And 2 of them are kind of like on the fence with firearms. They're not like pro, and they're not really against the Second Amendment. And then there is one person that they donated to that is definitely anti, that's supported a lot of bans and magazine limits and different things like that. But they donated to these guys, and this is not a political channel. We have people of every political belief and thought process and whatever here, and that's totally cool, and that's the environment that we have here. Now, me as somebody who is a Second Amendment guy, and as probably most people, if you're into knives, you at least are open-minded to firearms, if not supportive of firearms. That really makes you, when I saw that, I was like, what? Are you joking me? Like, why on God's green earth, if you say that I have a Benchmade knife that says like it's an NRA shooting match, like 1,000 limited, whatever. If you're, and I don't get me started on the NRA, that's a whole different topic. I know. But like you know that military, law enforcement, hunters, all these people love your knives, and you're donating to somebody, to politicians who, 2 are kind of like non-committal and just like, okay, I'm not going to support it, I'm not really against it, and one guy who is extremely against it. That makes no sense to me. But maybe there's something that I'm missing, so I kind of let that lay. That really frustrated me. I'm like, okay, am I even going to buy Benchmades again? But I wanted to wait and see, okay, what's the reasoning? And from what I can determine, as not an investigative reporter, but just somebody who is, trying to do my own little research, and you guys are asking me what's my take on Benchmade, I'm just trying to give you the data, that apparently those representatives and the Congress people or whatever that they're donating to really support like trade schools, I guess, is what I'm understanding. In Oregon, there's some trade schools that these Democratic people really support, and Benchmade hires, I guess, out of them a lot, and like other knife companies or whatever hire out of these schools, and these people who they donate to support that environment and support those schools and stuff. So they're getting machinists out of these schools to hired into their factories. And so I understand that. I understand why, if somebody supports that type of environment, you would want to maybe support them financially in their runs for, re-election, that type of thing. But with their other stances, there's got to be other people that you could support, or just a different way to donate just directly to the schools, I feel. And that really has, I believe, put a lot of nails in the coffin, not only for me personally, but also for a lot of people for Benchmade. So what's funny is I even watched the press release of the owner of Benchmade, and he wasn't really apologetic or like, yep, we're super strong on the Second Amendment, and that was these are some of the reasons why we donate to these people. He was just kind of vague and just kind of like, yeah, we won't do that again, you know, and that was like and he didn't really even reference a lot the political donation part, which is a way bigger deal than the breaking down of the firearms to me. Because what this looks like to me is this: it's like you coming to me and saying, I love baby seals. Baby seals are my favorite. I love baby seals. I support baby seals. I want baby seals to succeed in every way. But then you pay 3 painters every week to come over to your house to paint your house, but those same painters go out and they club baby seals every week. And they're clubbing baby seals all the time. Well, yeah, I'm not clubbing baby seals. I love baby seals. But I'm hiring somebody and I'm supporting, if you will, and having somebody around with my money that clubs baby seals. They also paint my house, which is a benefit to me, and I appreciate that, and they're really good painters, but they also club baby seals. Well, maybe you could find painters who don't club baby seals. And that's kind of like how I view this. And so it is very frustrating to me as somebody who supports the Second Amendment and seeing a company do that. And since then, apparently, some people have been really digging into some other, you know, firearm related or Second Amendment supporting companies that are also donating a lot to people who are very anti-firearm in political circles. And so this is my final take on all of this, guys. I want you to understand, one, I have never received a free thing in my life from Benchmade. I have zero connection with them. I think I shared an email with them one time, like 3 years ago, where they were maybe thinking about sending me a new knife to test out, and it fell through, did not happen. So I have zero connection with them. Never received a dime of money, of advertising, of free item from Benchmade. I have zero connection with them. So I want everyone to understand that, be super clear on that. Their stance and even their response, if they had been more just like understanding and apologetic in their press releases and understanding, I think would have helped me a little bit. And you know, if they had said something like, guys, we get it, that was a bad call, we shouldn't have broken down those firearms, we're never going to do that again, and we're totally behind the Second Amendment, we have supported these representatives because they help support, you know, the business environment in Oregon where we live. They help with some of the schools that we hire out of, and that's why we've supported that way. We understand that can frustrate some people because of some of their other stances on the Second Amendment. So right now we're also going to help out by, you know, supporting our local Second Amendment organization, you know, or like hunters, and, you know, like we're going to donate several $1,000s right now to this organization just to show you guys that we're like totally, we get it. We are going to like do better about, you know, supporting other people, you know, something like that would have really helped me a lot to put a little bit more faith in where they stand and what they're for. But they didn't really do that, and it's kind of annoying. And I'm willing to see down the line what Benchmade does if they change some policies and donation practices and things like that. But as of right now, I am in the process of selling about 2/3 of my Benchmades. Not because if you already have the Benchmade, they already have your money. There's no reason for you to sell it unless you literally don't want the knife anymore. So I'm selling about 2/3 because I've been sitting on them for a while. I don't regularly carry them, and I was just keeping them around more for comparison videos coming up, and I'm just not in the need. I just would rather have the money to put towards other knives. You know, I'm going to sell off some. So I'm selling off a few. I had one new one. I had the Puko, a Benchmade Puko 200 that I was going to review. I'm not going to review that right now. And I sold it. I hadn't even tested it. Hadn't even taken it out of the box, or, you know, I had just taken it out of the box and just looked at it and held it. I was going to go test it this weekend. I am not going to do a review on that anytime soon. Just because I feel like Benchmade does need to understand that their constituents and people who like support them with their dollars aren't super stoked on what happened, and they need to feel it. I feel I'm not for necessarily like a complete like boycott. I don't really like boycotts when people do it on either side of like the political spectrum and all this stuff. I don't know if boycotts really work all that well, but I feel like Benchmade does need to understand that this really is frustrating to a lot of people, and if they can just make some simple changes to just show that they are putting their money where their mouth is, literally by saying they support the Second Amendment and those type of things, and military and law enforcement, by doing some things to just show that, I think would be very helpful. Does that mean I'm never going to buy another Benchmade? Not necessarily, but I am going to take a break from buying any Benchmades. And to be honest, the knives that were dropped at SHOT Show 2019, there was none that I was really super pumped about. I was maybe going to get my hands on the turret eventually and buy one just because, it was kind of a hard use knife that I could maybe do later in the year. I'm not going to do that right now. Maybe in the future I'll get one if things change and maybe their attitude changes a little bit. But for now, I'm not like, Benchmade's dead to me, kind of thing. But I think that they made some really bad calls, and they need to show us as the knife / outdoor / freedom / firearm community that they do care about us, and they're not in it just for the money, and that they do support those things, and that they just need to prove it. And I'm going to wait and see if they can prove it. So I am waiting to see where things all fall, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. I am not super happy with what Benchmade did. I understand that some of the things they did were just silly mistakes that they shouldn't have, and I'm waiting to see where like their heart is down the line in showing their community of knife owners where they truly stand on some of these issues, and that will determine probably my reviewing processes and procedures and just other things down the line in general. So I don't hate Benchmade, but I think they've really shot themselves in the foot in a lot of ways here, and I hope that they can remedy some of that, because I love a lot of their products. I love a lot of their designs, and I want to support that. And honestly, guys, if we start doing this where we're just like looking at who's everybody donating to, I bet you we're going to find out that like almost every company that we like in some way, shape, or form splits the difference or even supports people that we don't necessarily agree with on political views and things like that. And then we're going to be stuck with like buying like 3 items. Like you have one backpack company and like one flashlight company and one knife company to buy from, and so there has to come a point also of just coming together where we may not agree on everything, but I'm trying, guys, I'm still trying to process this, even myself, that what can we agree on? And every little tit and tittle that we don't agree on, then I hate you and you're dead to me. I don't necessarily agree with that either. So I'm just trying to myself as just a citizen of the United States, trying to figure it out for myself and where that all stands, and particularly with my dollars, and so for now, I'm just going to walk with my dollars. I'm not going to like launch some campaign like ban Benchmade, down with like, okay, if that's how you feel, I get it. I totally get it. But I am going to let them know that I don't appreciate how they're acting right now and some of the decisions that they made by not reviewing some of their products and not buying any more for a while. And let's see where it falls. So that's what I feel like maybe what I'm trying to say to you guys is make your decisions on if they're dead to you, great, no problem. I'm not going to judge you until you're making a bad decision. Then that they're dead to you. And if you feel like they're awesome and it's not a big deal, okay, it's not a big deal. For me, I'm kind of in the middle, and I'm gonna use the power of my wallet for now of just not buying any for a while and just kind of see where they land on some of their long-term decisions in the knife industry and in their support of our freedom. So that's me, guys. So there you have it, folks. Thanks so much. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, all the social media. I want to hear from you guys what your take is on the whole Benchmade fiasco, and where you stand. If they're dead to you, if you're kind of in my boat of like let's wait and see, or if you're like, yeah, no problem at all, I'm gonna go buy a Benchmade today. I'd just love to hear from you guys, and let's keep it civil here. We don't need cussing. We don't need getting personal with each other. At the end of the day, we're all humans, and we all need to care for one another and love one another and support one another, and care more about humanity than trying to win an argument or something. So just please keep it civil as we do this, and check out all the links below: Backcountry, Blade HQ, Amazon, guys. Yeah, and as always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared. See you out there.